Hi, welcome to the third episode of the illegal arm trafficking from the US to Mexico. So, in this chapter, we will talk about the straw purchasing, that is the linchpin of the most trafficking scams. Criminal organizations recruit individuals with clean records in the US, often US citizens or legal residents. So, these people can buy guns on their behalf from licensed dealers, and these straw buyers falsely declare they are the true buyers, then hand off the firearms to traffickers, and thereby bypassing the background check disqualification that cartel members or felons might face. So the cartel sometimes employ an entire straw buyer rings. For example, a recent indictment revealed that a family-run network in Wisconsin that enlisted friends and relatives to purchase over 600,000 worth of high-end rifles, including Barrett .50 calibers and FN scars, from dealers in multiple states, which they then transported to the CJNG in Mexico. The ATF dealt with the case Operation Green, Reaper or Green and Barrett, as it uncovered one of the most prolific CJNG gun running networks, ever spanning at least a dozen of US states. So traffickers take advantage of loose US guns laws and market oversupply to obtain weapons with a relative ease. In most of the US states, there are few limits on the number of guns one person can buy at a time, and not federal requirement for private sales to have a background checks. So this makes it difficult to distinguish a trafficker's large purchase from an enthusiast collection. Obvious red flags like buyer purchasing dozens of the same model gun, making back-to-back model sales in a short period, paying in cash or being accompanied by a third party do sometimes tip off gun dealers or ATF agents. But in practice, unless a dealer chooses to report suspicious activity, straw purchases can go shop to shop, accumulating arsenals of guns. So, US officials have noted that straw buying cells working for cartels are major drivers cross border trafficking. So indeed, a recent ATF analysis of thousands of firearms trafficking investigation of 2017 and 2021 found that the 40% involved straw purchases and another 41% involved unlicensed sellers, like gray market dealers. So far outpacing cases of the theft or other methods. So in short, cartel operatives exploit the vast US retail gun market, conducting a shopping spree for weapons. And the use of decentralized smuggling channels to funnel those guns into Mexico. So the gun shops and the gun shows in trafficking have a role of US. So, a significant share of US origin crime guns in Mexico begin with the legitimate purchases from licensed gun dealers, especially in border states. Well, certain gun shops have effectively become feeder points for the cartels, whether through negligence or willful complicity. A small number of retail dealers account for disproportionate number of the firearms later recovered in Mexican crimes. For example, leaked trace data show that in Houston dealer primary arms sold over 40 assault rifles that turned up in a Mexican crime scenes in just 2019 and 2021. Similarly, in an Academy sport chain store in McAllen, Texas, near to the border, was the source of the 1,000 crime guns traced to Mexico over several years. In fact, five gun dealers in Arizona being sued by the Mexican government were among the top 10 source dealers of guns recovered in Mexico. So, allegedly selling hundreds of military style weapons to trial buyers despite clear signs of trafficking. This underscores how problematic dealerships can supply pipeline after pipeline of guns to cartels. While most federally licensed dealers comply with the law, those who turn a blind eye to bulk purchases or falsified transactions provide a critical getaway for smugglers. Gun shows and private sellers also play a role. In states like Texas and Arizona, private individuals can sell firearms at gun shows or through personal transactions without background checks or sales records. A loophole that traffickers eagerly exploit. Cartel buyers may attend gun shows and buy from unlicensed sellers or recruit locals to do so, allowing them to acquire dozens of guns anonymously. Straw purchases likewise use gun shows as shopping hubs, knowing that the law enforcement monitoring is looser in those venues. One notable case involved gun dealers in Laredo, Texas, a border city, selling 36 military style rifles in a short span to straw buyers who then smuggled them to Mexico. In another instance, traffickers linked to the CJNG placed orders for assault rifles with accomplices in Nevada and Oregon, where there were fewer purchases restrictions, even source parts at gun shows to build to build untraceable AR-50s. Um, American gun shops are so plentiful near to the border that they effectively serve as cartels' armories. There are thousands of FFLs in Texas and Arizona alone. For example, the small city of McAllen, Texas, of the population of 140,000 people, has 80 gun dealers. Giving the traffickers ample shopping options, and some dealers have been caught not only facilitating straw purchases or even coaching buyers on how to avoid the detections. The US government has tried to crack down through programs like Don't Lie for the Other Guy, which educate FFLs on recognizing straw buyers. And by sending demand letters requiring border state dealers to report multiple rifle sales, still this enforcement is inconsistent. Uh, in 2022, audit found widespread record keeping violations by dealers, over 33,000 instances of over 33,000 instances of inventory errors in 1 year, and thousands of failures to report multiple sales, lapses that traffickers can exploit to divert gun unnoticed. This sheer scale of the US gun market, with over 400 million guns in civilian hands, and the lenient regulations on sales, make it a daunting challenge to plug the leaks that feed Mexico's underworld.